I'm Lauren Green, and you're in the strategy room. Saudi Arabia has kept up its air campaign against Iranian-backed rebels for another day as Yemeni officials report new strikes in the capital. And this latest military move comes as Yemen deals with the new reality of a potential full-scale civil war. And joining us to discuss are Fleitz from the Center for Security Policy and James Phillips with the Heritage Foundation. Welcome to you both.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
Mr. Fleitz, let me start with you. So is Yemen edging towards a full-scale civil war?
It sure is looking that way. The Saudis see a very dangerous situation. There's these Houthi rebels who are a Shiite group which may be becoming an Iranian proxy. Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, the most dangerous Al-Qaeda franchise. There's an ISIS contingent. There's also a Muslim Brotherhood contingent. And now we see the Saudis are trying to act against this, but I think there's a question on whether they will be able to get together an Arab coalition willing to send in ground troops.
Yeah, I mean, and James, you feel the same way, that there's this full-scale civil war that's brewing in Yemen?
Yeah, I think we've seen a slow-motion civil war there for many years, and now the pace is accelerating. The fall of President Saleh back in 2012 kind of opened up the gates. He allied with the Houthis against his successor, President Hadi, and now the government is essentially collapsed, and Yemen is really dissolving it into its kaleidoscope of conflicting factions.
You know, Saudi Arabia has been leading a coalition of Arab states since last Thursday. So are we going to continue to see how big of a role, really, will Saudi Arabia then continue to be in this conflict? Fred? Well,
the Saudis are very concerned. I think they're going to play a significant role. But I think we need to look at exactly who are the Houthis allied to. There's a belief that they are an Iranian proxy. We know the Houthis hate the Saudis. The Saudis declared them a terrorist group last year. They hate the Americans. But I think there's a danger that the Saudi attack on the Houthis could drive them to the Iranians. And I suspect there's going to be an effort to see whether there could possibly be a way to negotiate a solution with them to stop the civil war.
This is an interesting part because what we're seeing here is the possibility of a proxy war that's really going on between the Saudis and the Iranians if they are indeed backing the Houthis. And so, James, do you believe that, you know, this will escalate, and to what will it escalate if we'll see an all-out war between Iran and Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think the Saudis are, for good reason, a little reluctant to go in on the ground in Yemen. Yemenis are much better fighters than the Saudis. They're a mountain people. They know the terrain. The Saudis have a relatively weak army, so they'd rather substitute air power, in which they have a much greater comparative advantage against the Houthis. And I think the air element will be the primary engine of Saudi intervention rather than an all-out ground intervention, because that would quickly bog down in the Yemeni mountains.
And Fred, are the Saudis worried that the unrest then can spill over into their countries? Is this finally why they kind of started stepping it up?
Yeah, they're very concerned for two reasons. First of all, the Shiite Houthi rebels could inflame instability among Saudi's Shiite minority community. That's a big concern. Another concern is that with American forces pulling out of Yemen, the counterterrorism efforts by the Yemeni government and U.S. forces against AQAP has gone away. And the Saudis are extremely worried about that because AQAP has been responsible for some tremendous terrorist plots since 9/11. I think that this could get worse with the Saudi civil war being inflamed.
Yeah, and this is the AQAP is the Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, and they're said to be a little bit more virulent against the United States and the Western world. Is that right?
That's right. They are the most dangerous Al-Qaeda franchise. Maybe ISIS is the most dangerous, but they're no longer part of Al-Qaeda anymore. But AQAP has been behind some very dangerous attacks, and they've been sort of hemmed in by U.S. and Yemeni counterterrorism efforts, and now, as I said, that is going away.
James, let me ask you this about the Iranian-backed rebels. Will they get more support, and if they do, from whom?
Well, the Saudi Navy is leading a blockade of Yemen's ports because they fear that the rebels will link up with Iranian ships laden with arms, as the Iranians have like a regular bus route delivering weapons in the Red Sea to Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad up in Gaza. They go through Sudan. And the Saudis are determined to prevent a further rearming of the Houthis, and they're also bombing airfields that the Iranians could land transport planes on. So this is part of what the Saudis see as an encirclement by Iran. Iran is stirring up the Shia Arabs in the north, in Iraq, and in Bahrain, and the Saudis allege in their eastern province, and now the Iranians have gained a new and growing ally in the Houthis in Yemen.
Okay, and Fred, let me give you the last word here.
Well, I would add that the Houthis overthrew the Hadi government because they didn't like the way it was running the country, and they wanted more autonomy of their northern section. And I don't know how likely it is, but there has to be a way to see how allied they really are to the Iranians and whether there's a possibility for negotiations. Because otherwise, I think we really are looking for a civil war that could destabilize the Middle East.
All right. I want to thank you very much, Fred and James. If you want to check out foxnews.com for more on the conflict in Yemen, I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.